Controlling your emotional frequency sets the tone of the room and of the relationship. That's why it's so important to have good mental frame, is because you can actually control that vibration, that frequency that other people feel in the relationship. Right? So how do you do that? Well, there's different practices you can do to elevate your internal vibration. I'd like to do affirmations. I like to do journaling. I like to do mind movies. If you guys don't know what a mind movie is, these are pretty fascinating. But you just stare at a movie, like a video, and you can put it together yourself. And it usually starts off with some kind of kaleidoscope, video, like a kaleidoscope image. The thing is about the kaleidoscope, which is kind of cool, is that if you stare at it and just focus on that, it puts you in a mental trance, right? Basically self-hypnosis. And then at the bottom of the video, or it could flash up everywhere, it doesn't matter how you do it, but you have affirmations that you read, right? In the present tense. It could be stuff like how you're feeling, how you have control of your emotions, goals you want, like anything you want like that, right? And those flash there while the kaleidoscope's going. And then you also incorporate images that you want to experience in your life. So if you want happiness, you might have a video of someone dancing and having a good time. If you want to attract the love of your life or something like that, maybe you have like an image of two couples walking hand in hand. If you want to travel the world, you have pictures of exotic places and stuff like that. And every time these pictures come up, you have these affirmations that you're reading. All that goes into your subconscious, right? And that subconscious controls your experience, because it controls your actions in life, your habits, and those actions create reactions. Those reactions create your results. And you'll find that a lot of the stuff that happens in your mind movie tends to show up for you. It's fascinating. You're basically programming your mind to expect this reality, and it starts acting that way. Once your mind believes something's true, it tries to make it true. Rhythm and emotional regulation. Emotions ebb and flow, right? Frame gets shaky when men mistake downswing for failure. Something doesn't happen the way you expect it to, and you get all depressed and you feel you're a failure. A good way to change that, right? Reframe that, is to not look at things as winning and losing or success and failure. Look at it like winning and learning, success and a learning experience, right? And how rhythm teaches emotional detachment. That we talked about it earlier, the law of neutrality. Essentially, if you can control how you perceive things, how you look at things, if you can reframe things, you're not so impacted by the ebbs and flows of life. Let's talk about causation and responsibility. Every cause has an effect. There's no such thing as random. If your relationship's in chaos, what can you do about it? What are you unconsciously doing that might be causing some of this stuff? A lot of guys on the internet, man, anytime I put out a video, it's the standard MGTOW talking point is, oh, there we go again. Always blaming the guy. It's always the guy's fault. There you go again. It's never the women. Women never have to experience accountability. And what I say to that is, it's not about it being the guy's fault or the girl's fault. It's that you can't control other people. You can only control yourself. So what are you doing about it? Right? It's sort of the idea of extreme ownership. You allowed this person in your life. So if they're creating chaos, what are you doing about it? Right? What are you doing about it? You're keeping her around? This woman that's causing all sorts of chaos in your life? What are you doing about it? Right? You can't control what she's doing. You can only control yourself, right? And you have to take some responsibility for the stuff that you allowed to happen in your own life. Okay? Every cause has an effect. There's no such thing as random, right? So frame is owning your own reality creation. Recognizing that what's going on up here how you're thinking about things, how you're reacting to things. It all comes from you up here, and you have full control over that. You have full control over it, right? That's frame. Reprogramming your identity, right? Masculine frame, not necessarily about domination. It's about generative leadership. Masculine frame, it's about, there's lots of things that go into masculine frame, right? There's dominance, there's assertiveness, there's confidence, there's decisiveness, there's directness. If you find yourself leaving your girl hints and not being direct with her, you don't have good frame, and you don't have good masculine leadership. You're actually acting like a woman. That's how women tend to act, right? They talk in subtext, they leave hints, they hope she figures things out. Like a masculine trait is being more direct. You know, you tell her how it is. Let's see here. One of the things I talk about in psychology paradigm is replacing self-limiting narratives, right? A lot of us have negative self-talk. A lot of us talk about how we're not good enough. We can never do this. Oh, I can never do that. I can never attract the kind of woman I want in my life. My wife will never follow my lead, right? All these kinds of things are self-limiting beliefs that hold you back. They keep you from having that success in life, right? So you need to replace some of those. How do you do that? By using some of the techniques we talked about, right? Like the affirmations, the journaling, the mind movies, all that kind of stuff can reprogram those thoughts. But what's more important than that is awareness, right? Being aware of that negative, those negative the negative self-talk that you have. And when you catch yourself doing it, shake it off and find the polar opposite, right? Use the law of polarity, find the polar opposite, start focusing on the opposite of that negativity, make it more positive, right? You'll eventually stop doing that as much. Frame's not a performance, it's the state of being, right? Eventually you want to make this stuff a part of who you are. One of the things that Rollo talks about, I think in The Rational Male, he definitely talks about it in The Player's Handbook, is you eventually want to become the game, right? And what he means by that is you have to make you really want to internalize all this type of stuff that we talk about on the podcast, all the stuff I talk about in my books, internalize it. So this is how you naturally show up without even thinking about it. It becomes a habit. A lot of guys in the MGTOW space talk about how the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Women aren't worth all the effort. And man, it's a lot of work doing all this kind of stuff. They only feel that way because they're not doing what comes naturally to them, because that's not who they are. But if you make this a part of who you are, this is just what you do naturally. It's effortless. You see, it's not work. The juice is totally worth the squeeze because you don't even really have to squeeze that hard. You understand? Detachment is the final level of frame. Detachment. One of the things I teach guys is try to develop a level of what I call loving detachment in your relationship. Being lovingly detached from any kind of outcome in your relationship. If you can get to a place where you're so lovingly detached that if your girl comes, if she goes, you don't care, right? It's not that you don't care. It's just that you won't let it impact you, right? You would love for her to stay, but you can't control her, right? The thing is, when you do that, you're also able to objectively see what's happening in the relationship, so you can sort of navigate things more strategically. You're not reacting to things emotionally. And the thing is that when you do that, you let go of all that attachment, you naturally become more of an attractive person. They want to be around you more because you're not shaken by things. You're not showing neediness. You're not chasing her down and showing desperation, all these unattractive qualities. You're more confident and secure in yourself when you can just let go of any kind of that attachment to outcome. You know, Buddha said that all human suffering the root of it is attachment. That comes everything in your life, including your relationships. And so when you finally realize that and you can let go of these attachments to outcome, you'll find that you attract it naturally. You don't even have to do much. And then finally, you have mastery is no longer needing to prove anything to anyone, right? You are just who you are. And a lot of that is what Thor talks about in his new book, The Superhero Inside, right? Do a search for that on Amazon. The Essential Skills of a Masculine Presence, The Superhero Inside. He basically talks about creating your own set of values. We talked about that at the beginning, creating your own code of conduct, and you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You are who you are without apology. And you'll find that people naturally respect that and gravitate towards that, right? All right, we'll end that here. Just remember this, your frame, your mental frame is your universe, right? There's nothing out here. Everything's up here. Everything you're experiencing right now, it's all in your head right now, and you have full control over all of that. One of the things that they start the Kybalion out with is the lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding, right? So a lot of the stuff, if it doesn't make sense to you now, or you're like, oh, Paul's full of shit, or this is whatever, well, you don't understand it yet, right? The lips of wisdom are closed except to the ears of understanding.
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.